don't know what happened. So hopefully this works. And people find this again. Hi! You found me again. I don't know what happened because it looked like it was working fine on my end, but I just saw all the comments that I guess it froze for you all. Hi. Hello, hello. Thank you for coming back. Oh, Ruby. Her name is Ruby. Yeah, it's funny that it's still on my end looked like it was working. Well, hey, little baby. Aw, well, you guys are sweet. Happy birthday, Minnie! Do you think that the bunnies would get along with the cat? Yes. Oh, how can we help stabilize your stream? Thank you. Well, I mean, I guess the thing to do would be to do it on my computer, but the camera was so bad. Well, I did it on my computer with TikTok the other day because my TikTok crashed too. And anyway, everyone said that the camera was so bad on my TikTok feed. Oh, all right. Wait, hang on. I'm going to grab Ruby because she's barking at people. Rubes, don't bark at people. They don't like that. Come here. Okay, who's a good girl? Who's a good girl? Yeah. Good. Oh, excuse me. Okay. Oh, sorry, Buns. Okay. A throne account. What does that mean? Can you hear Ruby? Hi. Hey, Rubes. You want to say hi to your friends? Oh, that's a good baby. Yeah. You have a good time outside? Okay, sweet girl. Yeah, it's time for cuddles now. Yes. Oh. What faith did you leave? Protestant Christianity. A gifting wish list site. I didn't even know such a thing existed. Yeah, Ruby is so beautiful. She's like the most beautiful dog ever. Actually, when I brush her, I tell her how beautiful she is. Yes, you are. You're so beautiful. Yes, definitely a Great Pyrenees. So fluffy. Oh, Mr. Cuddles. I actually don't have a religion or a faith now. Oh, she loves you too, Spark. Oh, right. I did used to be a Christian. Yes. We're gonna do that. The Bible doesn't say anything about watching inappropriate movies. Hey, big girl. And to be fair, the Bible doesn't comment on a whole lot of aspects of modern life. You're left to interpret it yourself. The Bible is an inappropriate movie. Oh my gosh. Oh, I need to post this today. Justin and I just recorded a new episode like going through Genesis. If it has been a while since you have read it, read Genesis 38. Oh, well, thank you for the super chat, Luke. Luke says, I don't know anything about you, but I can tell you're such a kind person. Thank you. Most Christians are awful, but Jesus isn't. Please come back. Well, I do appreciate the kind words. Thank you for that. No, 38 is in the kind of the middle of the Joseph story, and God is just like killing people because he doesn't like them, and one guy gets in trouble for spilling his seed on the ground instead of into a person. It's wild. Hi, Victoria. Oh, you have a Cavalier King Charles Spaniel? Oh, they're so cute. Ibrahim says, you actually represent a growing number of people in the United States, people leaving mainstream Christianity. Yeah, there are a growing number of people in this category. Oh, Daniel, thank you so much. I really appreciate the super chat. Daniel says, I've seen your stuff before and it's a good contribution to the atheist space. It's after 10 p.m. Just wanted to pop in and show my support. Take care. Thank you so much, Daniel. That's really kind. I appreciate it. Raging says, what's the issue with God killing people if he decides who lives and who dies? Well, it depends on kind of the context of what we're talking about. I think from a Christian perspective, you have to decide, is our human life valuable or not? And it gets to bigger issues of what is just. Rose, I just stopped believing that it was true. Hey, Prestige. Yeah, the issue is about the nature of that God. Yeah, in my FAQ, I have a video that says, like, why don't you believe anymore? A title, something like that. Winter says, yeah, my empathy was a big part. I knew I couldn't be Christian anymore. I just can't fathom not valuing others or dehumanizing them. Original says, I deconstructed this year. Well, hey, welcome. Glad you're here. Why did you just stop believing? So it was something that happened over about a year's time. It wasn't something I chose or wanted. E says, I love how Christians think that we just switch out like a pair of jeans. So what do you think will happen once you die? I think nothing. Like, I think we just cease existing once we die. Hi, Eve. Yeah, I mean, Seal, to your point, we did not get free will to choose to be here, to be part of that system. That's interesting, Raging. Why the difference? Hey, Grant. Yeah, so this whole channel it just exists for people who are leaving their faith or questioning their faith. And generally, that's kind of all we talk about. What do you mean it's not something you chose or wanted? I loved being a Christian. My relationship with God was the most important thing in my life. I did not want to stop believing. And yet it happened to me. How do you think we started to live? I'm not sure what you mean by that. Wow. I think we got rid of the troll. It is so strange to me. Like, why? I just can't. I don't know. I'll never figure it out. Did you ever try suffering as a Christian? Sort of. I mean, I certainly lived very, very what's the word I'm looking for? Minimally. And I also fasted twice a week. And I kind of would have gone wherever God told me. What happens if one day you die? Well, it's not an if, it's a when. Everybody dies. But I think we just cease existing. No cookies. I do not believe in God. Did you just stop believing one day or what happened? So if you watch that video on my FAQ playlist, that'll give you the whole long answer. But it was just kind of, it's like unraveling a sweater. You know, you ask one innocuous question, which leads to another, then you're trying to find answers and suddenly things stop making sense. Hi, Ibrahim. Welcome back. Oh, well, congratulations, Andrew. But you don't even want to have hope for better. Well, Christianity is not better. Like, I don't want to hope that billions of people are suffering for eternity. That's not a good thing to hope for. Do you have goals relating to leaving faith? I'm not quite sure if this is what you're asking, but I created this account as a place of support and connection for people who are going through this process. Because when I went through it back in 2009, and there really was no social media, not much anyway. And so I had to do it totally alone. And so I don't want other people to have to go through it alone. Do you think we came from the Big Bang? So the Big Bang doesn't explain humans at all. Perhaps evolution is what you're asking about. Thank you, Katie. Ruby, no, you were just out there. You're not going back out. Have you read books by Christopher Hitchens or Richard Dawkins? I have. They're not really my vibe. Like, I didn't connect with them that much, but I have. Poor dog. Oh, you must be a middle schooler. Well, congrats, Menno, on making such scary life moves. Chris says, I once worked with a man who tried intentional poverty and lived homeless on the streets of Rome for a time. Does any of that sound attractive to you? Have you heard of someone named Shane Claiborne? I read his book, Irresistible Revolution, and it was totally hooked. And if you haven't read his book, it's occasionally problematic, but mostly pretty good. And you read it. Oh, well, there you go. So I went to Philadelphia to go to his little community, and I tried to join the community, but they were like, sorry, we're full. You can't join us. So I tried. I mean, it wasn't being homeless, but it was certainly living under poverty conditions, but they didn't take me. Like, well, hey there, little bunny. Did you come back? Yeah, thanks. So, I mean, it was a cool experience. It was cool to go see it and be there. Yeah, so I tried. Do you have views on who the actual historical Jesus was and what he did? So I think it's at least reasonably likely that he existed. He may have been, a faith leader of some kind. I don't think that he was accurately quoted. Hey, Checkers, no, get out of there. And I don't think that Checkers, hey, no, you can't have that. That's not for you. And I don't think he resurrected. Yeah, John, they probably would. Man, no, I'm not sure if they're still in Philadelphia. When I went there, it was quite a few years ago. Oh, Calamus, thank you so much for the super chat. I really appreciate it. Calamus says, as a longtime atheist, I don't have much to ask, but I enjoy listening. Thank you so much. That's really kind. Oh, that's interesting. Albert says there's a YouTuber that thinks Jesus was an equivalent of a local magician. Hey, Francois. Oh, wow. Shares a thank you so much for such a kind comment. I really appreciate that. Thank you. I'm really glad that it's helpful. Yes, Rachel, I'm very sure that I am not divine. Yeah, so Victoria, it's actually interesting to me that Christians use Jeremiah 29:11 so much, and yet they don't use the rest of the chapter, what it says before and after that verse. Yeah, my moderators really are amazing. Yay, I love them. Yeah, there's definitely like a logical fallacy about like something being really old. Yeah, Winter, that verse in particular irks me when people use it. Like, you don't think any of the rest of that chapter or that book applies to you, but just that one verse you think suddenly applies to every human being for the rest of time. It doesn't make any sense. No, Cookies, I have not. Oh, Victoria, it's like you didn't listen to a single word I said. Sorry, I had to plug in. Hopefully that didn't like mess things up. Pan says, if believe there was a life in the universe, if there was other life in the universe, would they have their own Bible and Jesus? Would it be the Jesus because he's God's only son? Yeah, you know, it's interesting. Every 5 years or so, I feel like aliens are in the news in some capacity. And it's such an interesting theological question. Like, if there is sentient life somewhere, how would religions handle that? Hi Tim. I mean, I want this channel to continue to be a place of support for people. Hi LeVar. Well, Paul, don't tell us about it then. Oh wow, that is pretty fringe, Chris. Yeah, Francois, that would be really cool. I would be excited. Gabriel, actually, I stopped believing in 2009. Hi, Alex. Welcome. I have an FAQ playlist. And one of the videos says, like, it's titled, Why Don't You Believe Anymore? And that'll give you the whole backstory. Whew. Victoria, I think you've got some work to do. Oh, Albert, thank you so much for the super chat. I really appreciate it. Albert says, you're clearly such a warm person with high amounts of integrity, and I'm inspired having watched you for just a few minutes. Very cool idea for this channel. Thank you very much. I really appreciate that. Can we see the rabbit? Checkers just ran off. I bet she will be back. I can show you. Here's Ruby. She is moping that I won't let her outside. But she's been outside for hours, so it was time for her to come in. No, Evelyn, I was not church hurt. Oh, hey, Neil. So no, the channel is not about music. It's for people who are deconstructing their faith to connect to other people in the same place. I know, Ruby's not in her chair. Evelyn, it was a long process where I had a question and then another question and another question, and over a period of time, I just stopped believing it was true. Yeah, did I? I do have the moderation on. Oh, yeah. Well, Rational, we talk about music. It's just the person asked me if I was a musician, and so that I don't do that on this channel. I don't know that people would want to hear my music, CLN. Greg says, who cares if it's true? It's about the traditions. Well, the people who believe it's true deeply affect the rest of us. And for those of us who really believed it, it's totally life-altering when you stop believing it. Half Hawk says, I'm a scientist and a believer in God. Yeah, many scientists are. I don't think that science and religion have to be enemies. Yeah, I think there can be a lot of overlap. Well, no, Rational, I do not have a secret musician channel. Well, thank you, Evelyn. I do not believe in life after death. That one guy says, hi, fellow atheist here, and just wondering what you think are the best ways to gently nudge those close to you to actually inquire and critique their own beliefs. Well, I mean, having been on both sides of this equation, I don't think you are going to get anyone to change their beliefs. You can be a safe place for them to talk. You can be non-judgmental. You can be honest about your journey when they ask, and be ready to discuss whenever they want. But I don't think you're going to purposefully change someone's beliefs. I think it's something that they'll do when they're ready. Yeah, Mr. Viking says the whole premise of going to heaven or hell based on a belief is crazy because believing is not a choice. That is one thing I wish that I could clearly communicate to Christians. And so many Christians will say, what are you talking about? Of course, belief is a choice. And then we go kind of round in circles after that. Yeah, you bet. Tim says, thanks for sharing. What does faith deconstruction mean? Is it about social dynamics, or does it go into behaviors and internally changing beliefs? Yeah, so we typically use the term deconstruction for the critical examination of your beliefs. So it's the process of figuring out, okay, why do I believe what I believe? Where did these beliefs even come from? And then genuinely trying to figure out the veracity of those beliefs. Hey, little otter. What do you look to make sense of reality? Science. Yeah, that one guy says, right, I don't think I can force it or anything. I just have a lot of friends that I care deeply about and feel uncomfortable at times when they say they want my validation and I can't give it to them. Well, yeah, I mean, I do think being honest is important. And um, unfortunately, that's going to continue to be uncomfortable. But I think, just being honest when asked is maybe all you need to do. Hi, Minutemen. How can you believe in good and evil and not God? Well, so I don't believe in like the supernatural forces of good and evil. Would you still be an atheist if you were given science evidence he does exist? No. If there was convincing evidence, then I would accept the evidence. Hi, Maddie. Chris says, okay, but with science, you have to form a hypothesis before conducting an experiment. Like, what's going on there, you know? Wait, what do you mean? Good night, Rational. Oh boy, Shabab. I think maybe we should take some science classes. Shabab, how old are you? Yes, I consider myself an agnostic atheist. So no, I'm not a Christian anymore. Okay. Greg, I was Protestant. What are your views on the creation of the universe? So One, I don't know for sure. The hypothesis that makes the most sense to me is the one about the universe just infinitely expanding and then eventually collapsing on itself and then expanding again. There's a term for it and I forget the term, but that's the hypothesis that makes the most sense to me, but I don't know for sure. Oh boy. Wow. Okay. He's a biochemist who has ingested things tonight. What a crazy day. No, Jack, that's not a logical fallacy there. I mean, you'd have to deal with the same problem with God. Man, put on my bingo card. You were never a real Christian. Well, welcome, MJ. No, Abram, they do not. Evelyn, I was born into it. My parents were very religious as well. So for people asking why I'm no longer a Christian, I have an FAQ playlist on my page, and I have a video that says, "Why don't you believe anymore?" No, Jack, you do have the same problem with God, because if God is eternal, God existed infinitely into the past, right? But there had to be a moment of creation, but you had to experience infinity before you got to that moment that God decided to create, right? Shu says, I find it funny people ask what makes you not believe instead of saying what makes them believe. Well, that's a good way to put that. What will be your response when sitting in front of God and he asks what happens to your faith? Well, if that God is real, he would have watched me pray and beg him for help. He would have watched me fast twice a week just so that I could be sure I heard his voice. He will have watched me pray over and over again, God, please just give me faith. And he would have watched me be heartbroken when my faith disappeared, even though I didn't want it to. So I think I will be asking him what happened to my faith. Yeah, Mr. Viking says exactly. I kept trying, praying, went to church, men's prayer groups, etc., and I couldn't believe. No answered prayer after years of trying. Minutemen, thank you so much for the super chat. Minutemen says, hey, tonight's No God song suggestion is God Was Never on Your Side by Motorhead. While celebrating Halloween, please remember to praise Doug and to fuck the patriarchy. Indeed. 10-Minute Ministries, you have a really funny typo. They were trying to say that it's impossible for you to read the Bible and your life not improve, but they left out the not. And so it just said, it's impossible for someone to read the Bible and their life improve. Well, if that's how you feel. Well, true, Magic. Oh, you're welcome, Tennessee. Yeah, you're definitely not alone. A lot of people experience the same thing. Oh man, y'all, I did not realize how late it was. I need to call it a night. I have to go email some people. Ooh, yikes. Actually, probably tomorrow afternoon. I'm gonna drop a new episode that Justin and I just recorded today. So there's going to be a new episode of our Evangelical Bible study tomorrow afternoon. So please come and check it out. All night stream. Oh no. And then I am here on Tuesdays and Thursdays. So today's Thursday. I will be back next Tuesday. And you can also find me on TikTok. I am over there a little more frequently. Same handle at Leaving Faith over on TikTok. Thank you, Spark. I appreciate it. All right. Have a wonderful evening, everybody. Thank you.